Let me take another drink before I get started. It'll most likely be my last. I'm never going to leave this place. I've been in this room for hours typing this story, and I need it to be told. I keep trying to finish, but sometimes I feel like my mind is slipping. I'm posting my story here for one simple reason. I don't have access to a phone, and any calls for help have gone unanswered. I can't trust anyone here. They're gonna kill me. I'm gonna start from the beginning. The first time I had ever heard of the Lionheart Chateau. My wife convinced me to come home early from work, eager to share some exciting news. She was beaming when I entered the front door and handed me a pamphlet. She went on to explain that a few months ago she had entered a contest and won an all-inclusive weekend at a luxurious bed and breakfast, boasting about how they do not market like other businesses. No website, billboards, signs, or even commercials. Free and all-inclusive was all that I needed to hear. Even though she was 9 months pregnant, my wife convinced me we needed the mini vacation. She assured me that there was a great hospital close enough just in case. I'm embarrassed to admit I'm not sure of the exact location of the Lionheart Chateau. Our home is in New York City, and my wife mentioned the chateau was upstate. Even though I drove most of the way, my mind was focused on my wife. The way the baby has been kicking during this past trimester has made it very hard on her. I woke her up just as we were pulling up to the large colonial building, buried deep within the woods. That part I remember distinctly. The driveway, the long winding road that led us here. But the rest of the journey feels like a dream. I need to finish the details while I still remember them. As we were about to get out of the car, my wife suggested that we leave our phones locked in the center console. I laughed at first, but then I saw how serious she was. I have always been bad about my phone. I am constantly distracted by it. She went on to tell me that she wanted this weekend to be about us and not about technology. I couldn't find a reason to argue with her, so I just kept my phone in the car. I didn't tell her about the laptop packed in my suitcase, though. I was impressed from the moment we arrived. The building itself was gorgeous, a massive mansion fit for the elite. The staff was courteous, racing up to our car to help us right away. The weekend was truly about my wife and we were the only customers in the entire chateau. The staff catered to our every need. I almost felt like I was royalty or on a luxurious cruise. I had little to complain about, and I was honestly enjoying myself. The first oddity occurred on Saturday evening. My wife retired to bed early, and I decided to head to the bar. Every staff member I encountered said the same exact thing to me. We are truly blessed to have you and your wife in our presence. What I think I found odd is how they said it. I worked retail jobs in the past, but these people were ecstatic that we were here. Each compliment felt genuine, like we were celebrities and they had waited their entire lives to meet us. Everywhere I went, I felt their eyes upon me, always smiling and ready to serve. After a few glasses of red wine, I got up and searched for a bathroom. I made my way down a flight of stairs near the bar, and that's when I heard it. A low humming coming from one of the basement rooms. The noise was melodic and followed by faint whispers. I crept closer to the door that was slightly ajar and peered inside. I discovered the source of the humming and the whispers. About 10 staff members dressed up in white robes. They were on their hands and knees and appeared to be praying to something in the corner. As soon as they saw me, a woman rushed to the door and slammed it shut in my face. I never saw what they were praying to, I went back to our room ready to tell my wife what I saw. I remember feeling dizzy after the walk upstairs, even though I only had a few glasses of their wine. I climbed into bed trying to shake it off. I woke up feeling extremely groggy and confused. Everything from the previous night seemed like a bad dream. I looked up at the clock in disbelief. It was 3 p.m. I have no idea how I could have possibly slept that long. Even more concerning, my wife was not in the room. Although she's never happy when I oversleep, she always wakes me up anyway. I got dressed, went downstairs, and began to search for her. Not only could I not find my wife, I couldn't find anyone. I was completely alone. The halls of the chateau suddenly didn't feel so inviting. I decided to head outside and search the grounds, and grab my phone out of my car. That's when I discovered all the doors had been chained and locked shut. All of the windows of the chateau were either too small to fit through or too high to reach. It was like everything and everyone had simply vanished. I was starting to panic when I realized I hadn't searched the basement yet. As I raced down the flight of stairs, adrenaline coursed through me. I heard a noise that I feared the most. The sound of my wife screaming. I sprinted to the door to where the staff was worshiping last night, and her cries of pain only grew louder as I approached. I pounded on the door as hard as I could. To my surprise, it was open from the other side. 3 large men in the same white robes stood in front of me. Before I could fight back, it was already over. I was held down by 2 as the other one pulled out a large syringe from his pocket. A sharp pain shot through my shoulder and I quickly lost consciousness. I woke up back in my room, what I assume was hours later. I ran over to the door. Just as I feared, it wouldn't budge. My suitcase was open and all my belongings were strewn across the room. Somebody had gone through it all, presumably to search for phones and weapons. The only thing I knew they wouldn't find was my laptop. I had placed it in the gap underneath a large dresser in the corner of our room, a habit I had gotten into ever since I had one stolen from me at a hotel. Luckily, it was still there. As I was attempting to log into my email to send for help, the TV in the room turned on. I looked at the screen in horror. It was my wife. She was sitting in the basement room, surrounded by the staff. There was a large golden statue behind her, depicting a man's body with a lion's head, brandishing a butcher's knife. She too was wearing the same white robe, and holding a newborn child. Our child. She and the rest smiled intently into the camera as she spoke. You would never understand, so I never bothered explaining. Our child has been chosen. We are truly blessed to have him in our presence. But I fear you have done your job and your journey is now over. Just outside your room, in the courtyard, we are preparing your glorious departure from this world. Goodbye, dear husband. We love you. The screen faded to black. I buried my face in my hands as I tried to comprehend what I had just seen and heard. Then I remember what she said and ran over to the window to look out to the courtyard. I saw them all. Dozens of them, all in white robes, building what I can only describe as a funeral pyre. So, I'm sending this out to the world. I hope that it's received somewhere out there, begging you that if it's too late for me, then this is a warning. Whatever you do, do not stay at the Lionheart Chateau.